Chapter 1365. Huamin told him about how she met Ning Xion. You're not a Mary Sue, you were asked to do this. Qin Chu chuckled after he finished speaking. What are you laughing at? Honey, you're getting better at persuading people. If you practice a little more, you can go to the marketing department and brainwash people. Now that you've put it like this, if Ning Xion still gives up on his last chance to go to the States, then he's probably under a spell. Ha! Mr. Qin, you're still as black-bellied as ever. You don't even need to curse. Okay, let's not talk about him. Anyway, I've done what Xiaoxue asked me to do and fulfilled her wish. I'm going to Sky Blessing Court to have dinner with Mom. Will you come over later? I'm not sure yet, I still have a lot of things to take care of at the company. Stay with Mom. Okay, come pick me up when you're done. After hanging up, Huamin drove straight to Sky Blessing Court. After Jixin returned to New Zealand, her mother was all alone again. Huamin always felt that her mother was very lonely. Although she had a big house and a lot of money, she didn't lack anything. She just felt that her mother wasn't happy. She had never talked to her about anything too personal, but today Huamin wanted to take the opportunity to talk to her mother alone. Me, you bought so much I can't finish it all. Her mother scolded her. Then she took the bags from her daughter's hands. Finally, she washed a lot of fruits for Huamin. The mother and daughter sat on the sofa in the living room and chatted. Mion, are you still taking your Chinese medicine? I'm still taking it, Mom. I know how to take care of my body. I've been preparing for pregnancy, ready to welcome the arrival of a new life. Huamin smiled optimistically. My child, how can you still be in the mood to smile? Yang Merong looked at her daughter with heartache. Mom, don't worry about me, what's coming will come. Huamin was already in a good mood, so she didn't want her mother to worry about her all the time. Is Chu busy recently? Quite busy. There's a lot of stuff going on, Huamin replied after taking a sip of fruit juice. Then you should help him when you have time. After all, it's his family's business. Your in-laws are old and Qin Chu can't manage such a big company by himself. He doesn't have any siblings. I know, Mom. Once Jixin finishes his studies, he'll be able to help Qin Chu. Qin Chu loves Jixin so much. They're so close, Huamin said with a smile. Qin Chu was a person who had no feelings for anyone other than Huamin. However, he loved Jixin very much. Because Huamin loved his younger brother, Qin Chu loved him even more. In New Zealand, not only did Jixin pay for his tuition, but his living expenses were also covered by his brother-in-law. Jixin's living expenses of 1 million yuan a month were shocking. The good thing was that Jixin was very sensible and never spent money recklessly. He saved it up and planned to repay GK when he returned to China. Yang Merong smiled at the mention of Jixin. Jixin's all grown up now and he's a lot more sensible. It'd be great if he could help Chu out at the company. That way he'd be able to relax a lot. Mom, are you happy now? Huamin asked tentatively when he saw that it was about time. I'm pretty happy. I don't have to worry about you and Jixin anymore, and I even live in a big house. Compared to the small courtyard I used to live in, I'm so much happier now. I don't lack money and I have everything I want to eat. Auntie Wu and the others are all jealous of me. Yang Merong smiled from the bottom of her heart. However, Huamin still felt bad for his mother. After all, she was only in her 50s. I think that even though you don't lack money, you're still pretty lonely mentally. Mentally? Yang Merong was slightly surprised. Chapter 1366. Huamin nodded. I'll be honest with you, Mom. You should go out more often. If Auntie Wu and the others have suitable uncles, I hope they can keep an eye out for you. I didn't know that you were alone in your old age. Living alone is very lonely. You're not used to being with me and Qin Chu and you don't want to live with Jixin all the time. If this continues, you'll feel more and more lonely. No matter how filial your children are, they're not as good as a caring partner. So, Mom, I hope that you can find someone who truly loves and cares for you and spend the rest of your life with him. After Huamin finished speaking, Yang Merong was completely dumbfounded. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense. Don't be embarrassed, I understand your situation. Ever since Uncle Jing passed away, you've been supporting me and Jixin with your convenience store. We love you very much. We definitely didn't mean to push you to find a partner. From the bottom of our hearts, we really want you to live a happier life. Silly child, I'm already so old. If word gets out, it'll be so embarrassing. It'll be a disgrace to you and Qin Chu. Yang Merong sighed heavily. The truth was she had thought about finding a partner before. Her neighbors had all mentioned before that she didn't want her children to suffer because they were young. Now that Huamin and Jixin were both grown up, she didn't have to think so much anymore. But now she felt embarrassed. She thought that this would be a disgrace to her children and that it would be a disgrace to them. Especially when her son-in-law was a famous and successful man. In short, there were too many concerns that she didn't dare to entertain such thoughts. Never in her wildest dreams did she think that Huamin would take the initiative to bring this up. Mom, what day and age are we living in? What do you mean disgrace? Isn't it normal to care for the elderly? Besides, those who keep mistresses, find mistresses and have moral problems are the ones who are really discreditable. You are upright and you lost your spouse when you were young. What's wrong with finding a partner that you can get along with? Don't listen to other people's nonsense. Anyway, Jixin and I are very supportive of you. In the future, if Auntie Wu and Auntie Lu ask you again, just go and meet them. Don't reject them immediately. That won't do. Before Yang Merong could finish her sentence, Huamin changed the topic. Mom, I'm a bit hungry. Then I'll go and cook now. What do you want to eat? The radish meatball soup you made? Huamin looked at his mother and pretended to be pitiful. Okay, then I'll make pancakes and radish meatball soup for you. As soon as she heard her daughter say she was hungry, Yang Merong immediately ran into the kitchen. Huamin felt that his first attempt at brainwashing his mother was a success. He hoped that she could put aside her worldly views and really think about her own happy life. But according to his mother's traditional way of thinking, if he had to continue talking to her about these things, she might not be able to accept it in a short period of time. Huamin was leisurely eating fruits and playing with his phone. Suddenly, a piece of news popped up. Big news, big news. A famous male artist from GK was detained by the police for fighting in the underworld. According to reports, the big movie that was supposed to be released tomorrow was also banned by the Radio, Film and Television Bureau. Huamin's heart skipped a beat when he saw this. Then he saw netizens commenting below. I heard that Imperial Star's portrait of the country and beauty will also be released tomorrow. I wonder if GK really got into a scandal this time or if they were set up. Maybe someone from Imperial Star set them up on purpose. Some netizens even cursed. Suyu is a despicable person who keeps slandering my Prince Charming Qin. Just as Huamin saw this, his phone received a WeChat message. Mion, is it true that a celebrity from your company got into a fight? The person who sent the WeChat message was Xiaowei. Jiang Xiaowei didn't like to follow the happenings in the entertainment industry, but since she took the initiative to ask this time, Huamin felt that there was something else going on. Xiaowei, did you hear other rumors? Huamin reacted quickly and asked Xiaowei back. Chapter 1367. Yeah, a little. After Jiang Xiaowei said this, she decided to video call Huamin. Huamin was afraid that his mother would be worried if she heard negative news about the company, so he went upstairs to pick her up. Xiaowei, Mion, is it true that Wang Xiefeng beat someone up? Jiang Xiaowei asked directly. Huamin wasn't familiar with the new artists in the company. Other than Ni Yang, he didn't know the names of the other artists. Therefore, when he occasionally heard the name Wang Xiefeng, he was quite confused. I don't know yet, I haven't asked my husband yet. I just saw the news on my phone. But according to the exposure rate, it shouldn't be fake. The media that reported it is Nandu Daily, the kind that is very authoritative. I think so too, that's why I asked you. Do you know who owns the place where Wang Xiefeng got into trouble? Jiang Xiaowei asked quietly. Huamin shook his head. I really didn't pay attention. The place where he got drunk and beat someone up is owned by Imperial Star, Lord Su. Oh, what a coincidence. Yeah, so there are already rumors on the internet that Lord Su's company planned this. And their goal. Before Jiang Xiaowei could finish, Huamin immediately understood what she meant, so he took the initiative to finish her sentence. To create hype for the upcoming release of the portrait of the country and beauty? You know about it? Jiang Xiaowei asked. I saw netizens scolding Suyu, saying that they have a new movie coming out. I think a lot of people think so. What about you? What do you think? Don't you think that it's very sensitive to expose something like this at a time like this? Last time Lord Su's movie lost to you guys at the box office, and his fans even caused trouble. But you were smart enough to suppress it and let it go? Yeah, I remember. What about this time? What do you think? Do you think Lord Su did something underhanded? Jiang Xiaowei asked tentatively. So you wouldn't do something so lowly. The reason why there are so many conflicts is definitely not a coincidence. Someone must be deliberately creating conflicts and pointing the finger at Suyu. Yeah, it must be someone else's scheme. Let him be the scapegoat. That's what I was thinking. Jiang Shaowei was happy that Huamian understood the situation immediately. She wouldn't follow the trend and suspect anything just because of what others said. He wasn't someone who would easily trust others, but he was also not someone who would always suspect others. I don't know the details yet, I'll talk to my husband later. Okay, I don't have anything else to say. I just wanted to tell you not to trust the trolls on the internet. I haven't known Suyu for a long time, but after I married Wei Liao, I've been in contact with him a lot. I'm a psychologist, so I can see through people. Lord Su can be very simple sometimes. And sometimes he can be impulsive and childish, but he would never do something so despicable for profit. Not only Qin Chu, but he wouldn't do something like that even if it were his competitors. Because with his arrogant temper he wouldn't do something like that. Yeah, I believe him, Shaowei. Thank you for telling me so much. Don't mention it, we don't have to thank each other. There's been a lot going on lately. I feel like someone is targeting Qin Chu. You and your wife should be careful. If you need help from Wei Liao and I, don't hesitate to ask. He nodded and hung up the video call with Shaowei. Just as their mother finished cooking, Huamin came downstairs. She didn't mention a word about the company. She had a great appetite and ate a lot of her mother's pancakes and radish ball soup. Then she had a good night's sleep. She slept all the way until Qin Chu came to pick her up. Yang Myung really liked Qin Chu, so when Qin Chu came over that night she made a few more dishes. The couple didn't drive home until they finished eating. On the way home, Huamin lazily held onto Qin Chu's arm. Honey, the news said that the male artist from our company beat someone up, is that true? Chapter 1368. Yeah. Qin Chu nodded. The media is spreading the news like crazy. They're saying that it's because of the negative news about him hitting someone, so our new movie is ruined. In theory, that's what happened. He did hit someone and was detained. The company already took care of it. But it's not something that can be decided in a day or two. This movie hasn't been approved by the State Administration of Radio, Film and Television. They said it has sensitive scenes. Sensitive scenes? Could it be sex? Huamin's imagination ran wild. Qin Chu dotingly poked her head with his finger. What's going on in that head of yours? It's not like that. It's because some of the material said that history was tampered with. But history is something that happened thousands of years ago. Who knows if it's true or not? It's just those so-called experts who jumped out to criticize. It doesn't matter. It's just a movie. I don't care. What happened to the artist who hit someone? Did he get fired? Huamin was a little worried. No. Actually, it's not his fault. He was instigated by someone. It's obvious that it's a trap. Wang Xiefeng is still young, he just debuted. He's even younger than Ni Yang. He doesn't understand these things. Although Qin Chu was a big boss, he was very protective of the artists under his company. He was also very good at distinguishing between right and wrong. I see. It seems like Shaowei's analysis was right. Someone has been targeting you recently. I know. Qin Chu appeared very calm. Honey, do you think Suyu did it? How is that possible? If Suyu did it, why would he use his own territory to cause trouble? If he was that smart, he wouldn't be my opponent. As Suyu's #1 opponent, Qin Chu actually trusted Suyu. This made Huamin feel very comforted. However, the rumors outside were very ridiculous. They even became very intense. Inside the Song mansion, Hua Xiqian was having dinner with Mayor Song, and Song Yisha was there as well. It was a very strange scene. In front of the Song family, Song Yisha didn't have to pretend to be in love with him. Therefore, even if they ate at the same table, they sat far away from each other. I heard that you've been building a high-end residential area on that piece of land? Mayor Song slowly said, yes, father-in-law. I'm imitating the Palm Island in Dubai and building Sea City's high-end residential area on a man-made lake. Who would buy such a luxurious building? Mayor Song didn't seem to agree with Hua Xiqian. There are a lot of super rich people in our city. Don't worry, it'll sell like hotcakes. Thanks to father-in-law for the land. Just then Song Yisha rolled her eyes at Hua Xiqian. Dad, how can you go back on your words? When I went to visit Mama Qin the other day, she didn't even want to talk to me. She even said that you broke her and her father's heart. If you don't want to marry Qin Chu, then you shouldn't have made that promise. What's going on now? Before Mayor Song could explain, Hua Xiqian smiled and said, "Father-in-law likes me and loves me. We're family." "There's nothing wrong with that." Mayor Song smiled awkwardly. Sure, you don't understand business, and I wasn't the only one who made this decision. Everyone just thought that the whole corporation would do a better job. After all, GK is now fully developed and doesn't only focus on property. Therefore we made the decision based on the actual situation. We're not targeting anyone. Excuses, they're all excuses. Hua Xiqian, when are we getting a divorce? I really don't want to keep this up anymore, it feels like years. We shouldn't have gotten married in the first place. Song Yisher wanted to divorce Hua Xiqian immediately, so she asked again in front of her parents. Chapter 1369. There's no rush, it's not time yet. Sure, I didn't treat you badly. Why are you in such a hurry? Hua Xiqian's smile was a little creepy. It made Song Yisher's scalp tingle. We were just putting on a show. There's no love between us, it's all about benefits. Don't make yourself sound so great. Disgusting. You guys eat, I'm not hungry. Then Song Yisher turned around and went upstairs. Hua Xiqian was left behind, chatting with Mayor Song as they ate. Seeing that there was no one else around, Mayor Song lowered his voice and asked, "Xiqian, about that thing. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I won't tell Sure or my mother-in-law either. Father-in-law treats me so well, how could I be ungrateful?" Hua Xiqian smiled meaningfully. Mayor Song didn't think that at his age, he would be threatened by a young man. He was even more curious about how Hua Xiqian managed to find out about him when he had been so secretive about it. If it wasn't for the fact that Hua Xiqian had something on him, he wouldn't have given that piece of land to the Hua Corporation, even if Hua Xiqian was his son-in-law. Breaking his promise to Qin Chu greatly damaged Mayor Song's image. The good thing was that Qin Chu didn't hold it against him, but Mayor Song began to feel uneasy. He felt like he was being led by the nose, and this was just the beginning of his life. He didn't know what Hua Xiqian would do in the future. After leaving the Song mansion, Hua Xiqian got into his Rolls-Royce Phantom. As he drove onto the 3rd Ring Road, he looked into the rearview mirror and smiled. 10 minutes, 3 different cars tailing me. You guys even used the same tactics as the major crimes unit used to track suspects. You guys sure are willing to spend a lot of effort on me. No matter how meticulous they were, they still couldn't escape Hua Xiqian's eyes. Hua Xiqian led the cars around the overpass 3 times. Hua Xiqian abruptly passed through a bridge and entered a small alley. His movements were so fast that he simply left those trailing behind him in the dust. He did not want to investigate who had sent him. Was it Qin Chu or Suyu? The most important thing for him now was to find a way to defeat Qin Chu bit by bit and bring me onto his side. He felt that he was a very calm person. However, the closer they were to their goal, the more impatient they became. It was as if he didn't want to wait a second longer. He was looking forward to seeing Mion by his side, holding on to him as intimately as she held onto Qin Chu's arm. At the thought of this, Hua Xiqian couldn't hold back his excitement and his heart began to beat faster. Hua Min was a dream he had been planning for many years. No one knew how much manpower and material resources he had spent over the years to set up this great plan. If it weren't for this distraction, he would have kicked out the old man and Xinjiani a long time ago. Everything was because of Hua Min that many of his plans had been delayed. Min, I'm looking forward to the day you're by my side. Hua Xiqian lowered his head and gently kissed the photo of Hua Min in his hand. His gaze was filled with endless gentleness. Inside a private apartment, Wang Shasha was wearing a sexy white nightgown as she waited for Hua Xiqian to arrive. When she heard the sound of keys unlocking the door, she stood up nervously. Her good friend told her that all men were lustful as long as they dressed seductively and took the initiative. She wasn't afraid that he would be able to resist if she was just a little bit flirtatious. Wang Shasha gathered her courage and walked over, wrapping her arms around Hua Xiqian's neck. She said coquettishly, "President Hua, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I missed you so much." Her voice was soft and velvety. It was the kind of voice that would make a man's bones melt. The white nightgown was very transparent, and her white skin was faintly discernible. It was indeed perfect. She felt that she had to do something with Hua Xiqian today. Otherwise she wouldn't be able to sleep well. Her lips slowly approached Hua Xiqian's slightly cold lips. Chapter 1370. Just as she was about to kiss Hua Xiqian, suddenly he pushed her away. "Look at you. What are you wearing? Are you a cheap prostitute?" She'll never dress like you. Hua Xiqian's face darkened. Wang Shasha was pushed so hard that she fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Her knees and hands hurt. Hua Xiqian didn't have any intention of helping her up. He was a little angry and impulsive. She yelled at Hua Xiqian, "Who the hell is she? If you like her, then go after her. What's the point of using me as a substitute? Fakes are fakes, they're never real. You're a big shot, you don't have to lie to yourself like this, do you?" Hua Xiqian's face turned completely cold. He walked towards her, one step at a time. Wang Shasha was so scared that she crawled back. He was really scared of this man. Hua Xiqian grabbed her by the collar. He stared into her eyes and said, "You don't need to know too much. You just need to know that even if I give you everything right now, I can still take it all back and send you back to hell. I didn't do it on purpose. I just want to be with you." Wang Shasha was scared by Hua Xiqian. She realized that she was being impulsive, so she felt a little guilty. "Go change. Don't dress like this." Hua Xiqian didn't like Huamin because of her beauty or sex appeal. It was because of her natural temperament and domineering personality. Although Wang Shasha was similar to Huamin, she wasn't even 1/10 of what Huamin was like. However, before she got Huamin, it was good to lie to herself like this. Wang Shasha didn't dare to hesitate. She took off her clothes and changed into a cute set of pajamas. Even had a Mickey Mouse logo on it. It was pink and cute, but it couldn't arouse any man's desire. Surprisingly, Hua Xiqian was in a good mood. "Come here," he ordered. Wang Shasha slowly walked over and Hua Xiqian picked her up and placed her on his lap. This position was very ambiguous. She also likes Disney. "You look good wearing it like this." Not many people knew that Huamin was a Disney fan. However, if one were to pay close attention to Huamin, he would realize that Huamin was a lot of the time. In some very casual occasions, many of the clothes they wore were Mickey or Minnie Mouse. No matter how mature and steady Huamin was, she still had the heart of a girl. Deep in her heart, she still dreamed of being a princess. Therefore, there were many pajamas, home clothes, and small items in the house that were related to Disney. There was the Queen's keychain from Frozen, and the pillows of Nick the Fox and Judy the Rabbit from Zootopia. Hua Xiqian was actually someone who paid attention to details. Over the years, he had collected too many of Huamin's hobbies. That was why there were so many cartoon home clothes in Wang Shasha's closet. After the two of them showered, they lay down like they always did. Hua Xiqian hugged Wang Shasha from behind. Wang Shasha knew that he was looking at another woman through her. She was actually very scared right now. She didn't know how long she would have to live like this. Hua Xiqian was temperamental. Sometimes he would almost strangle her to death because of one sentence. She even felt that he wasn't in the best of moods. Midnight. Wang Shasha groggily got up to drink some water. When she opened her eyes, she almost screamed, because she saw Hua Xiqian staring at her face. That kind of gaze was unprecedented. You couldn't tell what kind of gaze it was or what it meant. However, she was extremely scared, so much so that her hair stood on end. "Why aren't you asleep yet?" Wang Shasha was scared out of her wits and her face was pale. Chapter 1371. Hua Xiqian didn't say anything, he just continued to stare at her. Just when she felt like she was about to suffocate, Hua Xiqian turned his head and closed his eyes. Wang Shasha was shocked for nothing. She even wondered if Hua Xiqian was possessed by a ghost. This man had too many secrets. This man was too strange. Huamin hadn't been sleeping well recently. She didn't know why, but maybe it was because there had been a lot of things happening at the company. She was worried about Qin Chu. At the branch company in T-City, the forced demolition incident was getting out of hand. The main reason was that the person in charge, Jiang Linyue, was still missing. This was very annoying. Although Qin Chu didn't say anything, Huamin could tell that he was very tired recently. At night, after Qin Chu fell asleep, Huamin sat up and drank some water. Then she took out her phone. She looked at the recent developments on various forums. It seemed like there were still people who were inciting and slandering Suyu because of the movie. Huamin couldn't stand it anymore, so she registered a Smurf account and argued with them. On Weibo, she wrote a thought-provoking sentence: "Sometimes what you see may not be true." Many people followed suit. Mion, is Imperial Star stirring up trouble this time? Why didn't you fight back? Dr. Hua, I'm so worried about you guys. It's a shame that the movie can't be released. Huamin, Imperial Star's portrait of the beauty sold like hotcakes this time. I think Suyu is a despicable person. Oh Huamin, my child is seriously ill and needs money. Can you sponsor me? I heard you're the daughter-in-law of a rich family? Huamin scrolled around but didn't see any valuable information. Just as she was about to close Weibo, she suddenly received a private message from Song Yisher. She and Song Yisher had already unfollowed each other ever since they had a falling out. They didn't look at each other's posts. Therefore she was quite surprised that Song Yisher suddenly sent her a private message. Huamin, are you there? Song Yisher couldn't sleep because she saw Huamin's post. So she thought that he might not have gone offline yet. I'm here. There's something I want to talk to you about. Go ahead. Huamin was indifferent to Song Yisher. Hua Xiqian attacked Qin Chu. I don't know what he did, but I know it's not that simple. You have to tell Qin Chu to be careful. Thank you, we will. Also, I think Hua Xiqian has a lot of secrets that are very important to him. I suggest you ask Qin Chu to investigate him when you have time. It would be best if you could expose his true colors. I've had enough of him, you know? I think he's a pervert. Huamin, don't misunderstand, he's not that kind of pervert. I've never been with him. We lived our own lives, but there were a few times when I noticed that Hua Xiqian's behavior was very strange. It felt like, how should I put it? I can't describe it, but it was very scary. I'm scared. I'm really scared. I won't deny that I'm telling you this because I want you to get rid of him as soon as possible so that I can get a divorce. Anyway, he's a cancer. Thank you for telling me so much. I understand. Huamin didn't fully believe Song Yisher's words, but it wasn't like he didn't believe her either. He could only tell her half of the story. So many things had happened recently. Ever since the Hua Corporation took away the land, Huamin had a feeling that Hua Xiqian had started to plot something. However, he didn't show it on the surface, so he hadn't been noticed yet. She and Qin Chu both suspected him. He couldn't think of anyone else who was trying to frame Su Yu. Huamin even wondered if Hua Xiqian had a mole by his side. The next morning at the breakfast table, Huamin silently ate his bread. Honey, you didn't sleep well last night? Qin Chu asked gently. What's wrong? You don't look well. Huamin subconsciously touched his face and smiled. Maybe I was thinking too much and couldn't sleep. What were you thinking about? Why didn't you tell me? Honey, when you have time, can you find someone to investigate Hua Xiqian? I've been feeling uneasy lately. I've already started investigating. Already? When did you start? Huamin was slightly surprised. Chapter 1372. Half a year ago. Qin Chu said calmly. Half a year ago. Huamin couldn't help but admit that her husband was quite smart. He had to plan ahead. Half a year ago, Hua Xiqian wasn't in charge yet. Back then, many people thought that he was a playboy who only knew how to eat, drink and have fun. Then, did you find anything important? Huamin's brows furrowed. Qin Chu, on the other hand, was calm. He's very cunning, there are no flaws. How is that possible? Is he too good at disguising himself? Huamin was a little surprised. Rick's men and I have been following him for a long time. A few days ago, Rick's men were fooled by him on the ring road. Honey, Hua Xiqian isn't a simple man. I have a feeling that he's plotting something. I have the same feeling. So you have to be extra careful these days. Huamin reached out and tightly held Qin Chu's hand. After dinner, the couple went to work separately. Huamin had been a little restless lately, but she couldn't pinpoint the exact reason. It was as if a storm was about to come. Chief, you don't look well. Are you too tired? I'll change your shift schedule so you can take some time to rest. Assistant Chen Jie said. Okay, thank you, Jie. Huamin wasn't a workaholic, she really did need to rest. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to stay awake in the office. After Chen Jie adjusted her shift schedule, she looked at Huamin and found out that she only had 2 hours a day to see patients. The rest of the time she could relax and relax. Huamin nodded. That's fine. After Chen Jie put away the shift schedule, she made Huamin a cup of calming tea. Chief, have some tea first, then calm down. I'll go to the pharmacy and see if there's anything we need. Okay, Huamin nodded tiredly. After Chen Jie left, she took out her phone. He continued to log into the various major forums to check out the latest comments. Su Yu did not respond to the defamation, but it was indeed her style. If he responded to everything, it would seem too low, and it would not be in line with Lord Su's arrogant personality. Imperial Star's Portrait of Country and Beauty was a hit. The female lead, Jian Tong, and 3 other female artists under the company became famous again because of their roles as concubines. On the other hand, GK Entertainment's movie was banned because of the male actor's assault, which resulted in a huge loss. However, Chin-Chu didn't care about this small loss. For a corporation as large as GK, this was nothing. What he was more concerned about now was the possibility that Hua Xiqian was behind all this. Then why would he waste his time doing something so boring? After all, these losses couldn't really hurt Chin-Chu's interests. These personal losses couldn't threaten GK at all. GK President's office, any news on Jiang Linyue? Not yet. The police said they filed a case. Assistant Yang replied. The corner of Chin-Chu's mouth twitched coldly. File a case. If they want to find Jiang Linyue, they'll probably have to wait 100 years. The police's efficiency is really disappointing. Forget it, I wasn't counting on them anyway. You can leave now. Yes, sir. After Assistant Yang left the office, Chin-Chu picked up his phone and dialed a number. Rick, any news on the person I asked you to find in T-City? Chapter 1373. I've already located her number. But it's strange. Her number shows that she's still in her apartment, but our people went to check and found that no one was home, so she must have left her phone at home. I don't think she left T-City because I've checked all the traffic exits, and there's no sign of her leaving the city. Could she have been harmed? Chin-Chu asked faintly. I don't think so. I've investigated all the suspicious people around her, and no one can pose a threat to her. I've also asked around and there haven't been any robberies. Jiang Linyue's apartment is extremely secure, unless she wants to disappear. Otherwise, no one would do anything to her. I think so too, she's probably hiding somewhere. Then what are you going to do? Find her and silence her or... Rick thought that Chin-Chu was going to kill her without mercy. I think she's being used. The accident in T-City is pretty big and she doesn't have the ability to make waves. But she definitely knows the inside story, so Jiang Linyue is a key figure right now. I want to find her because I want to know what happened. Okay, then I'll keep looking. No need, Rick, you don't need to look. Let's stop this for now. Why? Rick didn't seem to understand Chin-Chu's intentions. I think Jiang Linyue will come to me and they might want to negotiate terms with me. What about now? Is there anything I can do? Rick asked in all seriousness. Continue to follow Hua Xiqian and tell your people to be smart. Don't follow too closely or else they'll find nothing. Okay, I understand. After hanging up, Chin-Chu pressed the intercom. Sir, what's up? Assistant Yang immediately pushed open the door and walked in. Tell the private jet to prepare for takeoff. I'm going to T-City. Right now. Assistant Yang was a bit dumbfounded. Yes, right now. After speaking, Chin-Chu picked up his black suit jacket and walked out. No one knew how important T-City was, and the forced demolition had already made many residents unhappy. There were even some people who jointly submitted a letter to the provincial government and threatened to go to the capital. However, that wasn't the main point. The main point was that one of GK's construction teams violated human rights and ethics. They didn't care about the safety of the residents and forcibly demolished a building in the middle of the night, causing the area to collapse. A family of 5 was crushed to death. The reason why the news hadn't been exposed was because the higher-ups in T-City were afraid that they would be held responsible, so they suppressed the news. However, Chin-Chu knew that this matter was currently the most critical. If it was not dealt with in time, he was afraid that more people would die. Just like last time, they used human lives to ruin GK's reputation. There was only one person who could do such a vicious thing. Chin-Chu's gaze turned slightly cold. This was no longer a simple business war. This was a bloody war that involved unscrupulous means. Chin-Chu had a feeling that the enemy's goal wasn't as simple as taking down GK. Instead, they wanted him to die without a grave. Before Chin-Chu left C-City, he only sent a WeChat message to Huamin. No one else knew about it, so he kept it a secret. Honey, I'm going to T-City to deal with some urgent matters, so I might not be back tonight. Remember to eat and sleep on time, don't miss me. When Huamin received the WeChat message, he called Chin-Chu back. However, he had already turned off his phone. Chapter 1374. Huamin had no choice but to reply to him on WeChat so that he could see it when he turned on his phone. Don't worry about me, take care of your work. It was normal for Chin-Chu to go to T-City for business, but why did Huamin feel so uneasy? He just felt uneasy. The truth was, as the president of GK, Qin Chu was supposed to travel all over the country. However, he was very homesick and left all his business trips to the company's vice president and senior executives. He rarely went out, and the reason why he paid so much attention to T-City was because it was a coastal city with a strong import and export trade, and its economy was developing rapidly. However, after the incident at the subsidiary company, Qin Chu decided to withdraw his main force. Sending Jiang Linyue there was no different from sending her into exile. There were no more major projects. But even so, there was still a lot of trouble. Now there was a forced demolition scandal and Jiang Linyue went missing. If someone exposed this, GK's reputation would take another hit. Qin Chu wanted to solve this problem before it was exposed by the media. Chief, a patient just registered with you. Do you still want to see her? Qin Jie pushed open the door and asked cautiously. Huamin only had 2 patients left in the morning, and he had already seen both of them. Now that he heard that there was another patient, Huamin looked down at his watch. It wasn't even midnight yet. Therefore he nodded. Let her in. 2 minutes later, Qin Jie walked in with a girl around 17 or 18 years old. The girl was fair and clean with long hair and big eyes. However, the strange thing was that she had dark circles under her eyes, and there were even signs of bruising. Sit. Huamin pointed at the chair across from him. The girl sat down mechanically. Have you seen it before? Do you know what's wrong with you? Huamin looked at the medical record and saw the words on it. Persecutory paranoia. Yes, my mom took me to many hospitals and psychiatrists, but they couldn't cure me. The girl's voice was a bit hoarse. You have insomnia? Can't sleep? Huamin asked. How did you know? The girl raised her head and looked at Huamin warily. You have serious dark circles under your eyes. Shh. It's not a black eye, it's from being beaten up. Hit? Who hit you? Huamin was stunned. I don't know who it is. It's a scary person. He always comes into my room and beats me when I'm asleep. It's so scary. Huamin, are you saying that someone came in and beat you up after you fell asleep? The girl nodded. Then won't you wake up after being hit? Won't you see that person? Be quiet. I can't see him at all. I think he's a ghost. The girl said mysteriously. Even the look in his eyes was a little strange. Qin Jie shuddered at the thought of this. Huamin, on the other hand, was calm. It seems like you really do have persecutory paranoia. Do you always think that someone is trying to hurt you? Of course. There are actually a lot of bad people in this world. They hide in the crowd and you can't tell them apart. Then when you're not paying attention, they'll strangle you to death. The girl suddenly stood up when she said that. She suddenly tried to strangle Huamin. Luckily, Huamin reacted quickly and raised his arm to cover his face. Therefore, his arm was scratched by the girl. Qin Jie immediately reacted and hugged the girl tightly from behind. Girl, calm down. Qin Jie comforted as she hugged the patient. Chapter 1375. Let go of me, I'm going to strangle you. You're a bad guy. You're a demon, a devil hiding under the skin of a good person. The girl charged at Huamin fiercely, baring her fangs and brandishing her claws. She suddenly became so strong that Qin Jie couldn't even hold on to her anymore. Huamin pulled out a silver needle that he always carried with him and inserted it into an acupuncture point on the back of the girl's neck. Then the anesthetic wore off and the girl collapsed onto the ground. Chief, are you okay? Qin Jie was so scared that her expression changed drastically. She rushed up and checked Huamin's arm. His right arm was scratched and there were clear blood stains. It's fine, it's just a small wound. Huamin turned around and sat down. He took out the iodophore behind him to disinfect the wound. Then he took out white gauze and wrapped it up himself, his movements extremely clean. Chief, I'm sorry, I didn't think this girl would be so emotionally unstable. Qin Jie blamed herself. It's not your fault, don't take it to heart. This girl is seriously mentally ill. Not only does she have persecutory paranoia, but I also suspect that she has multiple personality disorder. She even has auditory hallucinations. If she doesn't get it under control, she'll have self-abuse or even suicide. I'm going upstairs for a meeting, you can call her family and pick her up. Yes sir, said Wang Yao. Qin Jie admired Huamin because he could remain calm no matter what the situation was. Even when his hand was scratched by a mentally ill patient, he could still analyze the patient's condition rationally. It was really a high level of professionalism. When he got off work, he received a call from Qin Chu telling him that he wouldn't be coming back. Huamin was just about to go home when he received a call from Xiao Wei. Mian, come to my place for dinner. I bought a lot of your favorite food including king crabs. Lingling will be here soon. Okay, wait for me. Huamin then drove directly to Jiang Xiaowei's house. When he passed by the maternity store he bought a lot of newborn clothes and supplies. After Xiaowei got pregnant, although they rarely went out for dinner, their relationship didn't diminish. When Huamin arrived, Zhu Lingling wasn't there yet. Oh my god. What happened to your arm? Jiang Xiaowei's sharp eyes noticed Huamin's injury. A patient scratched him. Mental illness? Jiang Xiaowei asked. Huamin nodded. Your profession is almost as dangerous as the one in the criminal police unit. If Qin Chu knew about this he would be heartbroken, right? He doesn't know yet. He's on a business trip. Sit down, I'll change your bandages. Jiang Xiaowei pulled Huamin to sit down on the sofa in the living room. Then she found a small first aid kit. Then she began to dress Huamin's wounds again. At this time, Wei Liao happened to send a video call. Jiang Xiaowei casually pressed a button and picked up the call. Then she stood on the coffee table beside her. Wei Liao, honey. What are you doing? Jiang Xiaowei, I can't tell. Are you blind? I'm dressing Huamin's wounds. Wei Liao, Huamin is here? Jiang Xiaowei, yeah, I asked her and Lingling to come over for dinner. Wei Liao, oh then you guys eat. I'll ask you what you want to eat and buy it for you. Jiang Xiaowei, it's okay, you can eat. After hanging up, Wei Liao looked at Su Yu meaningfully. Lord Su, did you see that? Huamin is at my house. So? Su Yu asked calmly. Do you want to come over to my house for dinner? Wei Liao smiled mysteriously. Are you sure your wife won't kick us out of the house? How is that possible? My Wei Wei is very gentle. Wei Liao chuckled. Tang Chuan, who was playing games on his phone, immediately interrupted. Old Wei, your ghost story is too fucking scary. Go away, what kind of ghost story is this? I'm serious, Wei Wei isn't as scary as you think. Wei Liao defended himself. Tang Chuan and Su Yu both smiled but didn't say anything. Huh? But how did Huamin get hurt out of nowhere? Wei Liao was puzzled. After hearing this, Su Yu's expression changed. Chapter 1376. Whoa, looks like our Lord Su is worried about you again. Tang Chuan put down his phone and continued to tease them. How about, you guys come back to my place for dinner? If you suddenly take us home for dinner without telling us, will Sister Wei make you kneel on a durian? Tang Chuan laughed. How is that possible? Durian is expensive. I think cactus is better. It's cheap and has thorns. Wei Liao chuckled. Fuck, you're still the best. Lord Su, do you want to go? Tang Chuan didn't really care where they ate, but they all wanted to see what Su Yu thought. It's okay, we'll just have a simple bite. I have to go back to the company for a meeting. Okay, let's eat here. Wei Liao nodded. But Lord Su, don't you want to see Huamin? Tang Chuan asked out of turn. I don't think it's a good time to see her. After all, there's been a lot of negative news about me lately. If she thinks that I've been trying to frame GK, she probably won't want to see me. Su Yu didn't have much confidence in himself. Recently, the painting of the country and the beauty was selling like hotcakes and Imperial Star was in the limelight. He didn't want Huamin to think that he was showing off or that he was deliberately showing off. Although he really wanted to see Huamin, he still felt like the time wasn't right. No way, I think Huamin is a smart woman, she would understand something like this. If you, Lord Su, wanted to play dirty, you wouldn't have waited until now. Why do you have so much to say? Lord Su already said that he's not going, so stop nagging and eat. Wei Liao kicked Tang Chuan hard under the table, making him grimace. Then the three of them ate Haidabao. Su Yu didn't have a good appetite, so he ate very little. During the meal he went out to make a phone call. After a while he saw a black Audi A8 parked in front of the hotel. I'm going out to get something. After saying that, Su Yu got up and walked out. After a while he returned with a box of ointment. He placed it beside Wei Liao. What the hell is this? Wei Liao looked at the ointment and wondered. Aren't you going home later? Give this to Huamin. Is there a need for that? He's a doctor. We don't have to worry about him. Lord Su told you to give it to him, so just give it to him. Cut the crap. Tang Chuan finally seized the opportunity to kick Wei Liao back. When they walked out of the hotel it was only 7 o'clock. Su Yu drove straight back to the company. Tang Chuan originally planned to go home with Wei Liao to join in the fun, but he received a call from a girl at the last minute, so he immediately ran away halfway. When Wei Liao returned, they were still eating. There were only Jiang Shaowei, Zhu Lingling, and Hu Min. The two nannies stood behind them, and the three women ate a table full of seafood. "You're back so early?" Jiang Shaowei glanced at Wei Liao. "Yeah, Lord Su isn't in a good mood, so he didn't eat much." "That's good. Sit down and eat with us." Jiang Shaowei pointed at the table. Wei Liao walked over and hugged Jiang Shaowei's shoulder lovingly. "Slightly pregnant women can't eat seafood. Did you forget? It's too cold. Especially crabs, it can cause a miscarriage." "Who said I ate it? I'm eating porridge, okay? I have a professional doctor by my side. How could I make such a low-level mistake?" Jiang Shaowei pointed at Hu Min proudly. Hu Min smiled and greeted Wei Liao. "Hi. By the way, Hu Min, Lord Su asked me to give this to you." As soon as he saw Hu Min, he immediately thought of Lord Su's instructions. Chapter 1377. Wei Liao immediately took out a tube of ointment from his pocket and gently placed it on the table. "I don't think so. Mian is a doctor and the hospital has all kinds of medicine. Why would he give her an ointment? Lord Su really didn't need to do this." Jiang Shaowei sighed as she placed her hand on Wei Liao's shoulder. Hu Min, on the other hand, didn't say anything. He quietly picked up the tube of ointment and looked at it. Then he looked up and said, "This ointment isn't sold on the market or in the hospital. It's specially provided by the military." "My goodness, it sounds pretty cool, but what does it do?" "Heal wounds," Zhu Lingling asked as she chewed on a crab. "Not only does it heal wounds, but it also has a beautifying effect. It prevents scars from leaving behind. I heard that it was imported from Germany and costs around 10,000 yuan. It's one of those priceless medicines." Hu Min vaguely remembered reading about this legendary medicine in a medical book. "No wonder Lord Su specifically asked you to give it to him. Looks like this ointment is pretty cool. Lord Su asked his family to deliver it to you." "It probably belongs to Lord Su," Wei Liao interrupted. Hu Min carefully put away the ointment and turned to look at Wei Liao. "Thank Su Yu for me. It's not sincere to thank him. If you want to thank him, tell him in person." Then Wei Liao took out his phone and made a call. The truth was, Wei Liao was a little selfish. He knew that Su Yu really wanted to see Hu Min, but he didn't have an excuse. So he wanted to create a small opportunity. Before Hu Min could say anything, Wei Liao handed his phone to Hu Min. The call went through and Su Yu's familiar voice sounded from the other end. "Sup?" He thought it was Wei Liao. After a moment of silence, Hu Min slowly said, "I received the ointment, thank you." Upon hearing Hu Min's voice, Su Yu felt his heart speed up. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I heard you were injured, are you okay?" Su Yu asked anxiously. "I'm fine, I was accidentally scratched by a patient. It's all superficial wounds." "That's good." Fuse. Hu Mian felt awkward. She didn't know what to say to Su Yu. Then, the two spoke at the same time. You first. Another spoke at the same time. This time Hu Min's a woman's. "Ladies first, you go first," Su Yu insisted. "It's nothing, I just wanted to say that you don't have to feel pressured by the recent storm. Qin Chu and I both believe that you didn't do it." "He believes me too." Su Yu was a little surprised. "Well, we all know your character. You definitely wouldn't do such a lowly thing, but the incident happened at your place, so you're considered to be the scapegoat for no reason this time. Recently, there are a lot of things going on, so you have to be careful." "I will, thank you for trusting me." So you suddenly felt a lot more relaxed. Hu Min's unconditional trust in him made him feel very comfortable. "Okay, that's it then. I'm hanging up now, bye." Hu Min didn't waste any time and hung up right after. It was already past 9 p.m. when she left Jiang Shaowei's house. She and Lingling stood at the door and talked for a while before driving away. After returning to South Hill Manor, Hu Min changed and took a shower. After getting into bed, she took out her phone and video called Qin Chu. On the other end, Qin Chu was in a meeting with some of T-City's important leaders. His phone rang. He looked down and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, I have to take a call from my wife." Then Qin Chu walked out of the meeting room. "Honey," he said gently. Hearing Qin Chu's voice, Hu Min felt inexplicably relieved. "Honey, what are you doing? Have you had dinner yet?" Hu Min cupped her cheeks and looked lovingly at the handsome man on the other end of the video call. Chapter 1378. I'm eating right now. Chin Chu's tone was gentle. He didn't want Huamin to worry, so he told a white lie. He wasn't going to tell her how dangerous the situation in Tea City was. What did you eat? Local specialties, Chin Chu said calmly. Okay, eat more, don't go hungry. Honey, you came back from Dr. Zhang's house? Yeah, Lingling wanted me to go to the bar for a drink, but I haven't been feeling well lately. I don't want to go anywhere, I just want to stay at home. Okay, then you should go to bed early, honey. Huamin dragged out her voice. Yeah. How about I resign and go to GK to help you? I think you're working too hard. You're running such a big corporation but you don't have anyone you can trust. You have to do everything yourself, it's really tiring. Huamin felt bad for her husband, so she debated for an entire night. She suddenly realized that it didn't matter if she was a doctor or not. What mattered was that she could help her husband with his work and shoulder everything together. Hasn't it always been your dream to be a doctor? Chin Chu asked with a smile. But no matter what it is, it's nothing compared to you. Chin Chu fell silent. Mrs. Chin, are you confessing your love for me? No, I just want to help Mr. Chin shoulder everything, Huamin said word for word. I'm happy to hear that, but I still want you to choose the career you like. Leave the business to me. Your husband won't fall so easily. I know, but, honey, I haven't had dinner yet, I'm going to eat. You go to bed first. Okay then, you should go to bed too. Huamin reluctantly hung up the phone. She didn't expect Chin Chu to reject her suggestion. She knew that Chin Chu loved her, so he didn't want her to go to GK. Relatively speaking, although the work in the hospital was tough, at least she liked it. She really didn't like being a career woman and a female C. She didn't think there was anything good about earning money. After hanging up the phone, Chin Chu turned around and walked into the conference room. My apologies, everyone. Let's continue. President Chin, we've discussed the victims of this accident. You have to fork out at least 5 million, or else we won't be able to keep them quiet. Once the news gets out, we'll all be in trouble. Money isn't a problem. The problem is that even if we take out the money, this matter won't be settled. I have a feeling. Chin Chu said calmly. After nearly 2 hours of discussion with the leaders, the result was not satisfactory. Chin Chu didn't like to deal with the officials because most of them liked to play Tai Chi, pushing the responsibility back and forth. All he cared about was money. However, since the branch office was opened here, it was impossible for them not to interact with it. Yang could tell that his boss was unhappy, so he didn't dare to say anything on the way back. Presidential Suite, Tea City Marriott Hotel. As soon as Chin Chu entered the room and took off his jacket, his phone rang. He picked it up and glanced at it. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello. President Chin, it's Jiang Linyue. You finally called. Chin Chu let out a sigh of relief. Jiang Linyue was a bit surprised. She thought Chin Chu would go crazy trying to find her. Tell me, what's your condition? Chin Chu went straight to the point. He already knew that Jiang Linyue was hiding at this sensitive time because she wanted to negotiate with him. President Chin, I want to be with you. I don't want status. I just want to be with you, Jiang Linyue said nervously. What if I don't agree? Then I'll go all out. I have something very important that directly affects our company's reputation. If I release it, then you'll regret it. Jiang Linyue seemed to have a plan. Chapter 1379. You seem to have overestimated yourself and underestimated me. Chin Chu's voice was icy cold. Aside from Huamin, he would never show his gentle side to anyone. All of GK's employees were afraid of this cold president. This was because this young leader had always been swift and decisive in his actions. It had been a week since Jiang Linyue disappeared from the branch company. She hid for a week because she wanted to make Chin Chu anxious so that she could negotiate with him. She thought that Chin Chu would compromise or at least consider it. President Chin, you should know that I have the best evidence for this incident. You can put it this way. If I say this incident has something to do with our company, then it has something to do with it. If I say it has nothing to do with it, then it has nothing to do with it. Think about the pros and cons. No matter how much evidence you have, I will never be with you. Jiang Linyue, you need to know your place. My wife is very kind to you. You provoked her so aggressively before, but she didn't throw you into the river to feed the fish. Don't test my patience, I'm giving you one last chance. Give me the evidence you have or else I promise you, you won't be in a good place. Ah, are you threatening me? Zhang Lingyue laughed. Threatening? You're thinking too much. There aren't many people in this world that I can threaten. Do you think you're worthy? Qin Chu thought it was hilarious. If Song Yisha was retarded, then Zhang Lingyue was probably terminally ill. She didn't even consider the consequences of her actions. She didn't realize that she was on the path of death. President Qin, I'm giving you one last chance as well. Are you really not going to say yes? Other than Huamin, I won't be with any other woman, no one. I can't promise you that. Then I'll give you what you have. Before Zhang Lingyue could finish, Qin Chu hung up the phone. Whatever. Qin Chu hated being led by the nose, especially by a brainless woman like Zhang Lingyue. If he was really manipulated by her, it would really lower his IQ. From Zhang Linyue's words, Qin Chu could vaguely guess what she had in her hands. Although it was indeed very important, he would not tolerate anyone who wanted to threaten him. Boss, are we really not going to continue negotiating with Director Jiang? Assistant Yang couldn't help but worry for his boss when he saw him reject Zhang Linyue's offer. There's nothing to talk about. Qin Chu was very calm. He took off his tie and went into the bathroom to take a shower and change his clothes, preparing to rest. At this moment, Zhang Linyue was on the second floor of a small house in a residential area on the outskirts of T-City. She actually regretted it. How did things come to this? She didn't want to frame President Qin, nor did she want to do anything that would be detrimental to GK. She thought that with these things in her hands, President Qin might compromise. Who would have thought that he would reject him without any hesitation? Now she was in an awkward position. They didn't know where to go from here. The more she thought about it, the more uneasy she felt. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. Hello. A man's voice came from the other end of the phone. I called President Qin, but he didn't agree. What should we do? Then you should announce it to the public. The bigger the commotion, the better. Let's see how Qin Chu will deal with this. But I don't want to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Zhang Linyue was a bit scared. Ah, you're so naive. Do you think you have a choice? You're in a difficult position. Do you know that? Qin Chu already sees you as a thorn in his side. Maybe he's sending people everywhere to find you and kill you. Your apartment has been visited countless times. If you were at home right now, you'd be a corpse. Don't think that Qin Chu is too kind. Go for it. But, don't you want to be with him? That's true. Zhang Linyue nodded, her mind in a mess. Listen to me. As long as Qin Chu loses, his reputation will be ruined and his wife will leave him. He'll have nothing left. You should take the opportunity to comfort him and keep him company. You'll definitely win his heart. Zhang Linyue's eyes were a bit confused. Really? Chapter 1380. After the call with the mysterious person, Zhang Linyue's mind was still wavering. Perhaps the mysterious person saw her hesitation, so he sent another text to Zhang Linyue. You don't have a choice now. Behind you is a cliff. Maybe if you go forward, you'll find a way out. Zhang Linyue didn't have much ambition. Unlike Song Yisha, she simply had a crush on Qin Chu. All these years she quietly worked at GK, hoping that one day the president would fall in love with her. Unfortunately, her goal was getting farther and farther away. She thought that if Qin Chu fell, Huamin would run away. Then she would have the best chance of getting close to Qin Chu. After all, she truly loved Qin Chu not because of his status or money. At this thought, Zhang Linyue tightly clenched her fists. Then she took out her phone and registered an ID on the most famous forum. Then she typed out the words that she wanted to say word by word. After she finished writing and pressed the publish button, she finally realized that she couldn't turn back this time. She didn't know if she did the right thing, but she knew that she was being used. But if she didn't risk it this time, she might never have the chance to get close to Qin Chu. As long as Huamin was there, she would never be able to return to Ji. Huamin, you forced me to do all of this. Finally, Zhang Linyue glared at her phone screen and blamed everything she did on Huamin. Midnight, Huamin still couldn't sleep. She got up and walked to the small fridge in her bedroom. She grabbed a can of drink and took a few sips. Her sleep quality had been getting worse and worse lately. When Qin Chu wasn't home, she couldn't sleep at all. She sat on the chaise lounge with her phone in her hand. She drank her drink and scrolled through the internet. Suddenly, an explosive piece of news caught her attention. It was just released 15 minutes ago, and it was now being reposted by famous media outlets. The title was GK's Secret to Fortune, The Dark Empire You Don't Know About. He had to admit that Jiang Linyue's writing skills were quite good. Her 7,000 to 8,000 words eloquently described the history of GK's growth over the years. Many shameful methods were even exposed. Of course, no one knew if they were real or fabricated. It wasn't until the end that a photo caused a stir. It was a real estate document signed by Qin Chu of GK, which meant that GK had bought a piece of land in T-City. They were preparing to build an automated shopping mall that would integrate food, drink, and entertainment. However, during the construction there was a scandal of forced demolition. Although the article didn't directly point out that Qin Chu was the one who wanted to force the demolition, it was written in black and white. As long as one wasn't an idiot, one could understand what it meant. The document in the photo had a red official seal and involved a lot of trade secrets. Just like that, it was made public. It was inevitable that things would blow up. Huamin had already guessed that other than the missing Jiang Linyue, no one else could have gotten their hands on such an important document. But hadn't she always liked Qin Chu? Why did she want to turn around and kill him now? Huamin was no longer in the mood to drink. He began to call Qin Chu, but Qin Chu's phone was turned off. He called Yang again, but Yang's phone was turned off as well. Huamin couldn't sleep anymore. What's going on? Did something happen? Huamin was very anxious. Inside the Marriott Hotel in T-City, Qin Chu had already seen the article 3 minutes after Jiang Linyue released it. The reason why he and Yang turned off their phones was to avoid being harassed by the media. Jiang Linyue is too much. How could she betray us like this? Yang, who had a good temper, couldn't help but curse at Jiang Linyue. Chapter 1381. I thought it would be some juicy news, but it's nothing much. In Qin Chu's eyes, the information she revealed was nothing worth mentioning. When the forced demolition scandal was exposed, he already knew that it was a trap. No matter what he did, he wouldn't be able to get away. An hour and a half after Jiang Linyue posted the article. To her surprise, the T-City police posted on Weibo. The head of GK's T-City branch, Jiang Linyue, is involved in a forced demolition case that resulted in serious injuries and deaths. The T-City police have officially opened a case for investigation. If anyone knows anything, please contact us immediately. The reward is 50,000 yuan. As soon as this news came out, it meant that Jiang Linyue was wanted by the police. Moreover, the person who called the police wasn't Qin Chu but the victim's family. This further solidified the GK forced demolition scandal. To outsiders, it looked like Qin Chu ordered Jiang Linyue to do these heartless things. Now, not only did Qin Chu get dragged into this mess, Jiang Linyue also became a wanted criminal. When Jiang Linyue saw the news, her face turned pale with fright. She dialed that number again. Hey, what's wrong with you? Didn't you say that everything would be fine as long as I posted the evidence? Why are you looking for me? Calm down, it's more realistic this way, right? Bastard, you went back on your word. Jiang Linyue cursed angrily. She quickly logged into her account and tried to delete the article on the forum, only to find that it was locked. She couldn't delete it at all. How did this happen? Jiang Linyue was completely dumbfounded. After the incident, she was already worried that Huamin wouldn't be able to contact Qin Chu, so she became even more anxious. Qin Chu thought that his wife was already asleep. He didn't think that she would still be reading the news at this hour. Therefore, he didn't think about contacting her. Huamin decided to call Gao Ran. Oh, Huamin. Gao Ran was obviously asleep as his voice sounded lazy. Gao Ran, use your police system to help me find out which hotel in T-City Qin Chu is it right now. Caught in the act. Gao Ran replied in a daze. Catch your grandpa. It's an emergency. I'm not joking. Hurry up. Yes. Gao Ran didn't dare to continue teasing him when he heard that it was an emergency. He immediately perked up. He got up and called the station. 3 minutes later. He replied to Huamin, I'm at Marriott Presidential Suite. Thank you. After hanging up, Huamin immediately got up and got dressed. She had already booked her flight ticket. It would take off at 11:20 p.m. and arrive at T-City at around 2:30 p.m. It was 10:20, which meant that there was still an hour left. He was in a hurry. Therefore, Huamin hurriedly put on his clothes, carried his bag, got into the R8 with disheveled hair and started to race. Fortunately, there weren't many cars at night and they were on the highway. When they arrived at the airport, everything was just right. She parked her car at the airport and boarded the plane. T-City Marriott Hotel Qin Chu and Xiao Yong returned to their respective rooms. The presidential suite had 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. The interior was decorated in a simple European style, and it was especially gorgeous. After Qin Chu returned to his room, he turned on his laptop and continued to work. He even poured himself a glass of red wine. Around 2:50 a.m., the doorbell of the presidential suite rang. Xiao Yang's room was at the entrance, so he immediately got up to open the door. After opening the door, Xiao Yang was dumbfounded. He thought he was sleepwalking. Young, Shu. Huamin raised his index finger and gestured. Xiao Yang immediately swallowed his words. Where is he? Huamin's voice was very small. The boss is in the innermost room. Huamin nodded and walked straight in. Is a young lady here to check the rooms? Thank goodness the boss didn't do anything bad. This is too scary. Huamin's sudden arrival in the middle of the night left Xiao Yang dumbfounded. Huamin walked to the door and felt her heart race. They were an old married couple, but she was still so nervous. She cleared her throat and knocked on the door. She deliberately lowered her voice and asked, President Qin, do you need special services? Chapter 1382. After Huamin finished speaking, she couldn't help but chuckle to herself. She really didn't know how Mr. Qin would react. Would he tell her that she didn't need it, or would he get angry and chase her out? She lowered her head as her imagination ran wild. The door opened with a bang, and before Huamin could react, someone scooped her up by the waist. Then, an hour later, Huamin walked out of the bathroom and collapsed into Qin Chu's arms. Honey, how did you know it was me? You didn't even look at me before you pushed me down. What if it was the wrong person? Qin Chu hugged her, and the corners of his lips curled up slightly. If it was an outsider, Yang wouldn't have let her in. Huamin was speechless. No matter how low your voice is, I can still tell it's you. Huamin was speechless. It's so late, what are you doing here? You've been sitting here for more than 2 hours. Qin Chu's heart ached as he gently stroked a lock of hair on Huamin's forehead. All right. You're too smart. You've guessed everything. That's boring. Qin Chu laughed. I was actually worried about you. Huamin turned around and tightly hugged Qin Chu's waist. You saw the news? Huamin nodded and didn't say anything. I'm sorry for making you worry. I thought you were already asleep, so I turned off my phone to prevent the media from bothering me. I didn't think you'd be so worried. Whenever I can't reach you, my thoughts run wild. So I came here at the last minute. I'm glad you're okay. Huamin buried her head in Qin Chu's chest. She enjoyed the gentleness that only belonged to her. After a while, Huamin looked up. Honey, about that? Don't worry, I can handle it. Go to sleep. Okay. The two of them hugged each other tightly. For the time being, they forgot all their worries and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning after breakfast at 6 o'clock, Qin Chu drove Huamin to the airport. Before leaving, the two of them were reluctant to part. Hubby, come home early. I'll wait for you. Like a child, Huamin held Qin Chu's hand and refused to let go. Qin Chu ignored the envious and jealous gazes of the crowd. He held Huamin's face and kissed her red lips. I'm fine, don't worry. Yang watched from a short distance away, and he was extremely envious of them. The boss and a young lady had been married for quite some time, but the two of them still acted like newlyweds. They were too loving. She was simply torturing him. Fortunately, he was no longer single. Otherwise, he would have suffered internal injuries. The next morning, GK's secrets were on the headlines of all the major media outlets in the 2 cities. A large number of reporters surrounded GK's headquarters, and many shareholders were worried that their stocks would be affected, so they directly went to the door to complain. All of a sudden, chaos ensued. Qin Chu's father immediately went back to the company, but he was surrounded at the door. Chairman Qin, why are you back? Did something happen and your son ran away? Qin Yuman, give us back our hard-earned money. GK's stocks are so expensive. If they fall, we'll lose everything. You profiteer. You bastards forced the demolition. The Qin family is nothing good. You will suffer retribution. President Qin, can you explain to me whether this forced demolition was your idea or the idea of your partner? I heard that 5 people died. An entire family was crushed to death by the collapsed building. It's so tragic. Qin Chu's father was silent the entire way. He endured the pressure and entered the company's internal affairs. Just as he was about to start the morning meeting, he heard the vice president report. Chairman, after the stock market opened, our stocks fell extremely within 10 minutes. What should we do? If this continues, our stocks will explode. Upon hearing this, Qin Yuman's vision went black. Before he could say anything, he fell to the ground. Chairman. Southside Recuperation Center. Huamin changed into a white lab coat and was about to go to work when he received a call from GK. A young lady, please come quickly. The chairman fainted. Chapter 1383. Okay, I'll be right there. Upon hearing that Qin Chu's father had fallen ill, Huamin immediately asked for leave and drove to the first hospital. Outside the VIP room, Dr. Liu, how's my father? Dr. Hua, your father-in-law's condition isn't looking good. His blood pressure is very high and his heart isn't very good. Plus, he was traumatized, and his condition worsened. What do we do now? Do we need surgery? My suggestion is to stay in the hospital for conservative treatment. At his age, surgery doesn't have a high chance of success. Take a look, this is the latest CT scan of his brain. Dr. Liu handed Qin Yuman's scan to Huamin. Huamin took it and looked at it with a serious expression. He's indeed not suitable for surgery. I also agree with conservative treatment. Let's lower my father's blood pressure first. High blood pressure is too dangerous. His blood vessels could rupture at any time and cause brain hemorrhage. Thank you, Dr. Liu. You're welcome. We're close colleagues now. I'll go back to work, you can go in and see the patient. Okay. Huamin nodded. When he entered, only Lady Qin was in the room. She held Qin Yuman's hand worriedly and seemed to be saying something with tears in her eyes. Why are you crying? I'm not dead yet, right? Qin Yuman's breathing was very weak. Huamin took a deep breath and walked over with a smile. Dad, are you feeling better? Mian is here. Huamian. Lady Qin turned around as well. The couple looked at Huamin. Yeah, I heard you were sick. I was worried. I'm fine, it's just an old problem. You're busy with work, don't come back and forth. Qin Yuman didn't want to trouble his children. Dad, we're family. Nothing is more important than your health. Huamin walked over and raised his head to look at the drip. He felt that it was a little too fast, so he reached out to adjust the speed. I just talked to your attending doctor. He's a very authoritative doctor in the field of brain surgery. You can rest assured. He said that you'll be fine as long as you rest well. That won't do. Chu isn't in the company right now. I have a lot of things to deal with. I have to go back to the company. Qin Yuman didn't seem to want to stay at the hospital. Old man, just listen to Mian. You still want to go to the company at a time like this? Is money more important than your life? Lady Qin seemed to be scared and held her husband's hand tightly. But Qin Yuman wanted to say something, but before he could, Huamin interrupted him. Dad, leave the company to me. I've asked for leave from the hospital. Before Qin Chu comes back, leave the company to me. Just focus on recuperating and don't think about anything else, okay? Huamin coaxed the kind-looking old man like he was coaxing a child. Did you hear what Mian said? She's the best doctor in the world. You have to listen to her. Lady Qin tried to persuade him. There's a lot to do at the company. Can you handle it? Qin Yuman was still worried. Dad, I'll take care of it. Huamin smiled confidently. Then Huamin contacted the best nurse in the hospital to stay and take care of his father-in-law. Then he bought some food for lunch and put it in the room. Mom, I'll go to the company first. There's lunch and fruit here. Take good care of Dad. I'll come back after work. Hey, go ahead. I'll be here. When he left the hospital, Huamin called Qin Chu and told him that his father was fine and that he shouldn't worry. Only then did Qin Chu relax and continue to deal with things in T-City. GK headquarters. Huamin went back to South Hill Manor and changed into a casual black suit before going to the company. After all, it was the company, not the hospital. He couldn't dress casually. When Huamin arrived, the chief secretary of the president's office, Bella, came to pick him up. Other than Assistant Yang, she was the most outstanding assistant in the president's office. She was also a strong woman and a workaholic. A young lady, you're here. Okay, tell them that there's a high-level meeting in 5 minutes. Is the president back? Bella was slightly surprised. I'll be in charge. Chapter 1384. You're in charge. Bella was obviously surprised. President Qin still has a few things to take care of, so I'll take care of the company. Okay, I understand. I'll let him know right away. Huamin then went into the president's office and fixed his makeup. 5 minutes later, inside the executive meeting room at GK headquarters, the 13 executives looked at a young lady who was sitting in the middle of the room. They were all a bit confused and their expressions were quite interesting. President Qin is still out of town dealing with some things. The chairman isn't feeling well and is receiving treatment at the hospital. I'll be taking over for President Qin for the next 2 days. Everyone, you can begin now. If you have any questions, please ask. Time is precious, so let's hurry. Huamin made his first official appearance at GK headquarters, inside the executive meeting room. He was so calm and didn't have any stage fright. He was full of confidence in front of the 13 executives. He had the same temperament and rhythm as Qin Chu when he was in a meeting. He was so handsome. The room was silent as if everyone was not used to this. Did you guys not understand what I said? Do you need me to repeat myself? Huamian leaned her hands on the table and asked with a cold expression on her face. A young lady, after the stock market opened today, it's been falling. The numbers are terrible. Finally, one of the executives began to speak. I know the reason why it's falling is because of the forced demolition scandal. President Qin is over there dealing with that. So, as long as we restore our image, we can stop the stock market from falling. That's not hard. Next. A young lady, this is GK Entertainment's quarterly report. Please take a look. The person in charge of GK Entertainment carefully handed him a folder. Huamin took it, looked it over and immediately saw the key points. Compared to last quarter, it's down 22%? Huamin asked. "So young lady, we accept your criticism, we didn't do a good enough job." GK Entertainment had always been run by a woman who was very capable. Huamin had interacted with her before and knew what kind of person she was. It's not your fault. A while ago the movie that was supposed to be released was banned, and that affected us quite a bit. It's all man-made, so you can't blame it all on the company's operations. But it's okay, keep your spirits up, things will get better and better. The head of GK Entertainment was flattered. She thought that she would be scolded by a young lady. However, a young lady, thank you for your understanding. How's the audition going? We've reached the final stage. Now it's the qualifying round. After that, it'll be the official appearance of the top 10 in the country. Go back and come up with a plan. When the top 10 are announced, we'll livestream it online. At the same time, we'll partner with a TV station with the highest viewership. We have to increase the exposure of our show. That way, when the winner is announced, she'll already be a celebrity without any promotions, Huamin suggested. A young lady, you had the same idea as President Qin and he said the same thing. I'll write up a plan in a bit and we'll finalize it in a couple of days. The woman in charge was pleasantly surprised. Okay. Huamin nodded. A young lady. GK Jewelry's sales have been very low recently. A while ago, President Qin said that we're going to release a new collection this spring. We've already come up with the blueprints. Can you take a look at the draft? High-level meetings were actually very scary as they had to deal with hot potatoes thrown at them by various departments at any time. Chapter 1385. Huamin took it and glanced at it. Then he looked up and said, "How about this? Send it to my email and I'll look at it when I have time." A young lady, President Liu and his wife from Southeast Asia's Lefeu Corporation are visiting our city tonight. And they're having dinner with President Qin tonight. Do you want to cancel it and make another appointment? How long are they going to be here? Huamin asked. Just 3 days. If it's 3 days, President Qin might not be able to come back. How about this, you make the arrangements and I'll have dinner with them. They don't speak Mandarin, they've been communicating in English. The executive felt a bit awkward. English? I can do that too. Go make the arrangements and send me the time and place, Huamin said slowly. By a young lady. Young madam, the entrance has been surrounded by reporters and shareholders. Should we write a public relations statement now? The head of the public relations department asked. Not yet, I'll talk to President Qin tonight. If we need to make a statement, I'll make the arrangements. Okay, a young lady. Is there anything else? Huamian glanced around and asked when she saw that no one was talking. Nothing else. Nothing else, a young lady. Good, then we're done here. After speaking, Huamin got up and left. with Bella following behind him. Just like that, this young woman who had just turned 25, sat in the executive meeting of the largest financial group in the country and conducted an exciting meeting. She didn't do any preparation or study and immediately got started. She solved every problem from every department without hesitation or confusion. She was so powerful that she defied the laws of nature. After she left the meeting room, the executives were still secretly exclaiming, "Our young madam is so cool, so cool." She presided over the meeting just like this. That's why I said that ordinary women don't deserve President Qin, let alone a genius like a young lady. To be honest, it's a pity that a young lady is a doctor. With her brain, she should come to our corporation to help President Qin. Then GK will be able to break into the international business world. Is a young lady really only 25 years old? Oh my, why does he look so mature and steady? He doesn't lose to President Qin at all. That's why I said that both husband and wife are the best. The higher-ups spoke one after another, but in the end they all had the same idea. A young lady was too awesome. She handled things too cleverly and reacted too quickly. There were no flaws at all. The most important thing was that his aura was too strong and intimidating. Inside the president's office, Huamin went back to his office and turned on Qin Chu's computer to check the stock market. Then he began to deal with some documents sent by various departments that needed to be signed. A young lady coffee. Bella brought in a cup of coffee. Give me some milk, thank you. Even though Huamin was so busy, she still remembered that she was preparing for pregnancy. Every time she came to the company, Qin Chu only allowed her to drink milk. So she was used to it. Okay. Bella paused for a second, then immediately changed the warm milk for Huamin. Huamin spent the entire afternoon organizing all kinds of data. When it was almost time to get off work, she received an itinerary from the administrative department. 8 p.m. Hilton Chinese Restaurant. Dinner with President Liu and his wife from Southeast Asia's Lefu Corporation. Huamin placed her phone on the table and pressed the internal line. A young lady, what's up? Bella walked in. Do you have something going on tonight? Do some overtime and come to dinner with me. You'll get paid double overtime. Huamin didn't forget to joke around. Bella was amused as well. At 5:30 p.m., Huamin finished organizing the documents, got off work on time and drove to the first hospital. On the way, she put on her Bluetooth headset and dialed a number. Honey. On the other end of the phone, Qin Chu's gentle voice sounded. Honey, I got off work and wanted to report to you that everything went well today. How's the situation on your end? Huamin asked with a smile. The situation on my end is a bit tricky. Qin Chu told him the truth, not wanting to hide anything. Did you find Zhang Linyue? Huamin was a bit worried. Chapter 1386. Not yet. Then what should we do? It's okay, there's no point in finding her in this situation. Even if she comes out to explain and defend me, no one will believe her. I need to comfort the victim's family first and then I'll continue to look for loopholes. GK can't take the blame for this. Forced demolition is a small matter, but the lives of a family of 5 are more important. We can't afford to take the blame. Okay, be careful. Have you eaten? Honey. Not yet, I'm going to see Dad at the hospital and eat with Mom and Dad. I have to meet with clients later. Thank you. Qin Chu's heart ached slightly. He hated that he couldn't be in 2 places at the same time, and his wife had to bear the burden with him. Don't be silly, we're family. Your problems are my problems. Okay, I'll go back as soon as I'm done. Okay. After the sweet call, Huamin ordered exquisite takeout and brought it to the first hospital. Dad, how are you feeling? Much better. Mian, about the company. Qin Yuman seemed to still miss the headquarters. After all, it was the place where he worked his whole life when he was young. It's all taken care of. Rest well, you shouldn't eat greasy food right now. You should eat some coarse grain porridge. It's better for you. Okay. Qin Yuman nodded repeatedly. Huamin handed another food container to Lady Qin. Mom, it's hard for you to take care of Dad, so you should eat something good. This is Li Ji's sea cucumber porridge and your favorite shrimp dumplings. More. You're so considerate. Lady Qin held the food and was slightly moved. They all said that distance tests a horse's strength, and time reveals a person's heart. It was truly torturous. Huamin could pretend for a short period of time, But whenever Qin Chu was in trouble, Huamin would be the first to stand up for him. She was fearless, and no matter what others said, she would stand by his side unconditionally. Having a daughter-in-law like her was a blessing to the Qin family. A while ago, Huamin caught an egg with her bare hands and defended her husband in front of the media. Screenshots of the video were still circulating on WeChat. She was China's best daughter-in-law. The Qin Chu's wife go to the company during the day and the hospital at night. Mian, you're busy right now. You don't need to come here every day. The nurses and I are enough. You take care of yourself. After all, you're still preparing to get pregnant. I know, Mom. I know what to do. Then Huamian and her in-laws had a simple meal in the hospital room. Seeing that it was about time, she drove home and changed into a dress. Then she went to do her hair and put on some simple nude makeup before going back to the company to pick up Bella. Huamian hua. To hua tu chin to Huamian hua chin hudo chin. Today Huamian chose an emerald green dress. In the cold winter, the emerald green in the midst of the white snow was very eye-catching. She wore a white tasseled shawl and a pair of golden high heels. She looked elegant and graceful. Her hair was curled at the sides. It was loose and natural, befitting her age. She didn't look childish or mature. Bella, is this okay? Huamin was actually quite nervous about meeting a client alone for the first time. Chapter 1387. Very beautiful. Bella sat in the passenger seat and complimented a young lady from the bottom of her heart. Huamin smiled faintly and drove his R8 to the Hilton Hotel with Bella. He had done his homework and knew that he was going to work with Lefeu Corporation on jewelry. Lefeu Corporation was the largest raw material supplier of diamonds and jewelry in Southeast Asia. Their main source of income was Sri Lanka, where both diamonds and labor were cheap. On the other hand, GK's philosophy was to sell diamonds and jewelry at affordable prices. The only difference was that they were cheaper and of better quality than other luxury goods. Therefore, GK's reputation had been excellent for years. GK's jewelry was an important investment, and he couldn't give it up no matter what. Therefore, it was important for him to meet with President Liu of Lefeu Corporation. Inside the Hilton Chinese restaurant, Huamin met President Liu and his wife. They were a couple in their 50s, about the same age as Qin Chu's parents. President Liu was very low-key and only brought a bodyguard and a Chinese translator with him. In comparison, Huamin was even more low-key and only brought Bella. President Liu, Mrs. Liu, welcome to the beautiful sea city. I'm Qin Chu's wife, Huamin. I've heard from Xiao Qin that he has a good wife. Xiao Liu smiled. You're too kind, let's take a seat, please. Huamin generously extended his hand and invited President Liu and his wife to take a seat. As soon as Huamin opened his mouth, Bella was a bit surprised. A young lady actually knew how to speak English and she spoke it very fluently. However, she had always heard rumors that a young lady had never left the country and only went to a third-rate local university. She didn't even have a grade in English, so how could she? She had thought that a young lady brought her here because she passed T8 in English. Now, it seemed like a young lady could communicate freely and didn't even need her to translate. I heard that Mrs. Liu is from our hometown? Huamin asked with a smile. Yes, my mother is from here and my father is from Thailand, so I'm of mixed blood. Mrs. Liu was very kind. Huamin didn't just praise or flatter her. Instead, he chatted with her fluently. They talked about GK's jewelry, real estate, and their new entertainment company. Huamin's answers flowed smoothly, and President Liu and his wife were very satisfied. Mrs. Qin, I really like Ni Yang from your company. He sings really well and both of my daughters love listening to him. Thank you, he's a very motivated kid. We're like siblings. Huamian smiled. Can you bring me 2 autographed copies of your new albums? Of course, S's. That's not a problem at all. If there's a chance in the future, ask your daughters to come over. I can arrange for them to meet Ni Yang. Really? It's great. Mrs. Liu liked Huamin a lot, so she kept toasting him. Because of their age difference, Huamin treated them as his elders. Therefore, he couldn't refuse, so he drank one glass after another. Soon the bottle was empty. Mrs. Liu, on the other hand, didn't seem to have had enough. She called the waiter for another bottle. Bella was a bit worried, so she quietly whispered into Huamin's ear. A young lady, let me drink for you. It's okay, I'm fine. Huamin knew that Mrs. Liu really liked him, so they got along quite well. If he asked his secretary to drink for him, It would seem too insincere. After dinner, Huamin was a bit drunk and his cheeks were slightly red. Lady Qin, I heard that Seductive Fox is very famous. It's a city that never sleeps. Can you take us there? Mrs. Liu was 50 years old, but her mentality was very young. She actually made such a request during dinner. Bella looked at a young lady awkwardly, afraid that she wouldn't be able to handle it. Huamin smiled slightly. Sure, let's go now. The owner of Seductive Fox is a good friend of President Qin and I. Awesome, let's go then. President Liu and his wife seemed to be having a lot of fun. They didn't notice that the girl had drunk quite a bit. When Huamin brought them to Seductive Fox, Rick booked a VIP room for them. Huamin was a bit dizzy. After ordering some songs for them, she walked out and leaned against the wall in the hallway. She took out a cigarette and put it in her mouth. Just as she was about to light it up, someone snatched it away. You're so young, why are you smoking? Do you want to die? A familiar voice said. Huamin turned around and looked at the man in front of her in surprise. Chapter 1388. Why are you here? Huamin looked at Suyu with a smile. It seemed like there was a high chance of bumping into Suyu at Seductive Fox. After all, Suyu was a big boss in the entertainment industry and had to entertain his clients. In the entire Sea City, Seductive Fox was the only place that could be seen. Where else could he go if not here? I'm here with a client. Suyu casually placed Huamin's cigarette behind his ear. What a coincidence, me too. Huamin continued to smile. Perhaps it was because she was a little drunk and didn't have much energy, so her head was a little dizzy. Other than smiling, she didn't know what to say. Does a hospital director have to entertain clients? Suyu tilted his head and asked. No, it's GK's. Where's your husband? He's still in T-City. So she left all this mess to you. Suyu looked at Huamin with heartache. She didn't leave it to me, I took the initiative to help her. Huamin pursed his lips and chuckled. Suyu felt a little jealous. After a while he slowly opened his mouth and said, Qin Chu has an old wife. Upon hearing this, Huamin only smiled and didn't say anything. She rarely smoked. She only smoked when she was under a lot of pressure, but right now she was a little drunk. Therefore she wanted to see if she could smoke to sober up. However, she didn't expect Suyu to snatch it away from her. Therefore the two of them stood in the hallway with their backs against the wall. They chatted casually as if they were old friends. It was so natural. Suyu tilted his head and secretly looked at Huamin's profile. The lights in the hallway of Seductive Fox weren't very bright and were even a little dim. However, under the dim lights, Huamin was still very attractive. Many times Suyu had the urge to run up and hug her. He really just wanted to hug her. Now that she was so close to him, he was actually terrified. Why are you looking at me like that? Huamin turned his head and met Suyu's gaze. Puff. Actually, I wanted to ask, are you a little drunk? Your face is very red. Suyu was a little embarrassed and changed the topic. Huamin nodded and admitted, yes, I drank 2 bottles of red wine and 5 bottles of beer. Are you crazy? I'm just accompanying a client. Is there a need to get me drunk? It's not like GK needs money. Suyu was surprised. Huamin smiled. I wanted to drink it myself. The client is only a small reason. A lot has happened recently and I haven't been sleeping well. So, if I drink more maybe I'll sleep better tonight. But, aren't you preparing for pregnancy? Getting drunk and smoking aren't good for the fetus. Suyu said for the first time. Huamin was stunned for 3 seconds. Then she started giggling. What are you laughing at? Suyu was a little scared by her laughter. I didn't think you could say something like that. It's so funny, I'm serious. If you smoke and get drunk, how are you going to have a baby? But the baby isn't here yet. Huamin was even more depressed when he said this. She had done everything she could. She did a physical checkup, drank Chinese medicine and prayed at the temple. There was still no baby. What else could she do? Don't worry, you'll have a baby, for sure. Although Suyu's words hurt when he said them, he still wanted Huamin to be happy. He didn't like to see Huamin so emotional and Huamin hiding in the corner and smoking. He liked to see the arrogant female doctor who wore a white coat and could choke people to death with one sentence. However, he also knew that everyone had a weak side. Even a genius like Huamin would get tired sometimes. As the two chatted, a waiter from Seductive Fox suddenly walked over. Mrs. Qin, our boss wants to see you. Rick? Huamin asked. The waiter nodded. Then I'll leave first, Lord Su. Alright, do you want to give me back my cigarette? Huamin playfully reached out her hand to Suyu. Chapter 1389. In your dreams. I won't give you a cigarette, and if I find out that you smoke again you'll what? Huamin asked with a smile when he saw that Suyu still hadn't finished his sentence. Forget it, no one can do anything to you if you're so cocky. Hurry up and go. After speaking, Suyu turned around and walked into the private room. Huamin followed the waiter to Rick's office. Inside the VIP room, after Suyu turned around and walked in, he carefully removed the cigarette from behind his ear. He couldn't bear to put it down. Huamin's expression was still vivid in his mind. Whenever he thought of her, his eyes would uncontrollably become as gentle as water. On the top floor of Seductive Fox, Huamin was quite surprised, because Rick always contacted Chinchu directly. He never talked to her in private. Now that he asked the waiter to bring her here, she was quite curious. On her way in, she wondered if something was up. After entering, she saw Rick sitting on the sofa with his phone in his hand, seemingly fiddling with something. When he saw Huamin walk in, he stood up. You're here. Have a seat. Huamin sat down, and his assistant immediately poured a cup of coffee and placed it in front of Huamin. Have you contacted Chinchu? We talk every day. Huamin nodded. He didn't tell you that things are difficult over there, right? He didn't, but I sensed it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed out for so long. Huamin was quite calm. Chinchu and I have been investigating someone. The truth is, Rick slowly said. Huasiqian. Smart. Rick nodded. Have you found any clues? Jiang Linyue is probably under his control, but we can't find out how they contacted each other. It's too secretive. Our people have been following Huasiqian for a few days now, but we still haven't found anything. Is finding Jiang Linyue enough to solve the current situation? Something like that. We need her to change her statement and clear Chinchu's name. We just need to know if the construction company mentioned in the stamped document in Jiang Linyue's hand participated in the forced demolition. Did GK was involved, or did someone else's heartless sup? After all, 5 people's lives were lost. Chinchu cares. Yes, as long as someone died, no one would not care. I know that he has been anxious to deal with that side recently. There's actually 2 reasons why I asked you to come today. Rick Huamian's eyes, Rick's when he's. First was Estes. I've always. SSSSSest. Okay. Huamian knew that Rick wouldn't say these things for no reason. He must have his reasons. What's the second reason? Huamin asked. After a moment of silence, Rick slowly said, I want to ask. February 14th is almost Valentine's Day. What should I get a girl? Your girlfriend Cece? Huamin asked with a smile. She didn't think that Rick's second question would be so weird. Rick seemed a bit shy as he nodded. Flowers. If it's your first love, you can get a pink rose. If it's your first love, you can get a red rose. If it's your deepest love, you can get a blue rose. As for how many flowers you want, you can get at least 999, right? Other than flowers? What else should I get to make her happy? Chapter 1390. It was Rick's first time in a relationship, so he didn't know how to coax her or what to give her. Last time he gave Cece a bank card with 1,000,000 yuan in it. Cece threw it at his face. Not all women like to throw money at her. But Rick didn't understand these things. He just thought that having money was a lot more convenient, so he could buy whatever he wanted. You mean, you want to give her something sincere that can move her, right? Huamian began to understand what he meant. Rick nodded solemnly, looking at Huamian with an innocent look in his eyes. It seemed like Huamian had hit the nail on the head. I think you can do something that you've never done before, Huamin suggested. Like cooking something. She'll be moved. Think about it, you're going out for the first time in your life, how could she not be moved? But you need to do your homework and see what she likes to eat. This is called catering to her tastes. Rick nodded thoughtfully after hearing this. Okay, I'll listen to you. Thank you, Huamin. You're welcome. If you run into any trouble while Chinchu isn't in the city, or if you need help with anything, just leave it to me. Rick reminded her. Then you should go back. I see that your client is still in the private room. Oh yeah, I'm going back. Huamin just remembered that President Liu and his wife were still in the private room. After chatting with Rick, she went straight back to the private room. She drank some wine with President Liu and his wife and sang a few songs to keep them company before ending her trip for the night. She wanted to go to the hospital to see her father-in-law, but she was too dizzy. Bella sat in the driver's seat. "A young lady, I'll drive you home first." Just as the car was about to start, an average-looking man of average height walked over. He approached the car and said to Huamin, who was sitting in the passenger seat, "President Su asked me to give this to you." Then before Huamin could say anything, the man left. Huamin picked up the bottle and looked at it. It was a bottle of calming drink. This kind of drink had not been sold on the market yet. It was said that it was privately developed by the Su family bank and was not announced to the public. It was filled with precious Chinese medicine for calming the nerves and sobering up. The raw materials were expensive. What a good thing to have in the rich circle. Huamin was very touched. Su Yu, who looked so big on the surface, actually had such a meticulous side. She unscrewed the cap and took 2 big gulps before leaning back in her seat. Beldrive. Yes, a young lady. Bella thought that a young lady had brought her along to be a translator or a drinker. After all, the leaders of many large companies did this and let their subordinates do these things. However, Huamin didn't do that. She did everything by herself. It was only when she came back that she was too drunk to drive. Actually, she wanted to find a designated driver, but Bella was worried, so she insisted on driving her back. Bella suddenly realized that the young madam's character was really good. She didn't put on airs just because she was the wife of a corporation. She also didn't treat her employees like they were important. Relatively speaking, she was like President Qin. She would give people the basic respect and trust. Bella pressed a button in the car, and music started playing. It was Huamin's favorite song, Hotel California. Listening to this song in this kind of night made her feel very happy. Bella glanced at a young lady. She closed her eyes gently like a child. Although she wasn't the kind of beauty that could cause the fall of a city, she was very pleasing to the eye. The more Bella looked at her, the more she liked her. Bella thought that President Qin had a good wife. Every time something happened at the company, a young lady would come back immediately to deal with it. She put down everything she was doing and worked so hard because she loved her husband very much, right? The next morning, Huamin went to the company early in the morning. She originally planned to hold a press conference at 9 o'clock. She was going to explain the forced demolition scandal in T-City. This was also the result of her discussion with Qin Chu last night. However, just as she was about to go to the hotel, she suddenly received a call from her assistant, Yang. A young lady, President Qin said that the press conference is cancelled. What? Huamin froze. Jiang Linyue was found dead in her apartment 15 minutes ago. President Qin was just taken away by the T-City police. The case still needs further investigation. What? Huamin felt like he was struck by lightning. Jiang Linyue was dead? Qin Chu was taken away for investigation? Could it be that Jiang Linyue's death had something to do with Qin Chu? Chapter 1391. How did she die? Huamin wasn't prepared for this at all. No matter how much he hated Jiang Linyue, he never thought that she would die so soon. The fear of impending death slowly spread from the depths of his heart. Huamin felt like T-City was extremely unsafe. Because Qin Chu's opponent was a devil who could kill without blinking. The death of the family of 5 during the forced demolition could be considered an accident. Then Jiang Linyue's death was premeditated murder. And the motive was obvious. A young lady, don't worry. President Qin is still at the police station and I have to go with him. I'll tell you the details when he comes back. Okay then, you must keep in touch with me. Huamin was panicking. T-City police station. When Assistant Yang arrived, Qin Chu had just begun to record his statement. Because of his special status and his status as a VIP, he wasn't locked up in a small dark room for interrogation. Mr. Qin, where were you last night from 1 to 3 in the morning? I was resting at the Marriott Hotel. My assistant, Mr. Yang. You didn't leave the hotel? The police officer asked. Well, how can you prove that? The hotel has surveillance cameras. If you went out, you would be able to see the front and back doors. You can look at the surveillance footage yourself. The victim, Jiang Linyue, died in her own apartment. She had been dead for a long time when we found her. After a forensic examination, she died between 1 and 3 in the morning. The cause of death was due to external interference and suffocation. We searched the scene but couldn't find any clues related to her death. We also investigated her interpersonal relationships and found that she was an employee of your company. Yes, she's the manager of my branch company. Chin-Chu nodded. That's not important. What's important is that the last message she sent before she died was to you. I didn't receive it. Chin-Chu was slightly startled after hearing what the police officer said. He really didn't receive any messages from Jiang Linyue, so he was quite shocked when he heard that she died. The police took out the evidence. It was a mobile phone wrapped in a plastic bag. She edited her message, but she didn't have time to send it. She didn't write a complete message either. She only wrote "Xiao Qin. We're guessing that she had something to tell you." What did she say? Chin-Chu was curious. Only 3 words. President Qin. We don't know what she's going to say next. Could it be that the murderer deliberately left it behind to mislead you? Chin-Chu asked calmly. We don't rule out this possibility, but so far, only the deceased's own fingerprints were found on the phone, so we can't be sure yet. The evidence will be sent to the laboratory tonight to continue to check for dandruff. Oh. Chin-Chu nodded thoughtfully. Have you noticed anything unusual with this employee recently? The police officer asked again. She betrayed the company. To be exact, she betrayed the company and took away the company's secrets. Then she publicized the evidence and slandered the company and myself. It has a very bad influence on me. I've been trying to contact her, but I haven't heard from her. That means there was a conflict between the two of you, right? Yes. Chin-Chu nodded. So we have reason to suspect that you had a motive to kill her. Before Chin-Chu could say anything, Yang went crazy. He glared at the police officer and asked, What nonsense are you talking about? President Qin was with me at the hotel last night. How could he have time to commit the crime? Chapter 1392. But he could have ordered someone else to do it. He didn't have to do it himself. Watch what you're saying. How dare you accuse President Qin? Assistant Yang was furious for the first time. He thought to himself, are the police in T-City stupid? How dare they suspect President Qin? Chin-Chu tugged on Assistant Yang's shirt. Sit down, don't be so impatient. President Qin. But I told you to sit down. Seeing that the president was furious, Assistant Yang had no choice but to sit down quietly. I understand that you have reasons to be suspicious. I will do my best to help you collect evidence. Please solve the case as soon as possible. I don't want my employee to die. After all, I still have a lot of things to ask her. Now that she's gone, I'm very troubled. Okay, we've already classified this murder case as a top priority. We'll solve it as soon as possible. Although the police had a motive, they didn't have the right to detain Chin-Chu. Therefore, Chin-Chu could still go back to his own business and sleep at the hotel. However, his identity was sensitive and he couldn't leave T-City for the time being. Things were getting messier and messier. That night, an article was published somewhere. The title was "The head of GK's branch was killed. GK's young president is deeply involved in a murder case." The article was very detailed. Jiang Linyue was being investigated by the company because she knew too many secrets. In the end, she died mysteriously and the murderer claimed that Chin-Chu ordered someone to do it. The article caused another uproar as soon as it was published. All the major media outlets tried to republish it, and more people tried to smear Chin-Chu's reputation. Things were getting out of hand. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Chin-Chu returned to the hotel after a busy day. As soon as he walked in, he video called Huamin. Honey. After seeing Chin-Chu's face, Huamin finally felt a lot more at ease. Honey, I'm fine, don't worry. He was always so calm, as if he was shouldering everything by himself. How did Jiang Linyue die? Suffocation. Suffocation? Huamin was a little surprised. Yes, she was suffocated by external interference. Because there is no direct evidence, the police have not given a specific result. But according to my guess, she should have been suffocated with something like a pillow or handkerchief. That's terrifying. I have a feeling that that person killed Jiang Linyue to frame you and ruin your reputation. Think so too. Chin-Chu raised the corner of his mouth slightly. How can you still laugh? Huamin looked at Chin-Chu with some resentment. When I see you, I don't think about anything anymore. Really. Chin-Chu had been in a bad mood for the past few days. However, no matter how bad her mood was, she would try her best to maintain her best state when she was video chatting with Huamin. He never wanted the woman he loved to worry about him. Honey, when are you coming back? I miss you so much. Huamin looked at Qin Chu's thin face and felt sorry for him. I'll go back as soon as I'm done here. Did you read the article that was published last night? Don't worry about it, someone is trying to make a big deal out of it. Should we explain? No, the more you explain the worse it will get. Time will tell. Honey, you have to be careful. Now that Jiang Linyue is dead. I feel like those people are really cruel and merciless. Killing someone is as easy as killing a cat or a dog. It's too bloody and cruel. I'm really worried about you. Huamin repeatedly reminded Qin Chu to be careful, feeling very uneasy. Chapter 1393. I know I'll be fine. Don't worry. Then come back as soon as possible. Huamin pouted. Yes, I will. Before hanging up, Huamin reluctantly reached out her hand and gently stroked Qin Chu's handsome face on the screen. She really wanted to hug him. She really wanted to stick to his chest and act coquettishly. But now they were 2 cities away. After hanging up, Huamin didn't feel sleepy at all. After chatting with Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling on WeChat for a while, she posted on her WeChat friend circle in Weibo. Good and evil will be rewarded. Those greedy people will be judged by the heavens. Jixin, sis, what happened? Huamin replied to Jixin, it's nothing. Go to school. Zhu Lingling, God is watching over us. Some people just want to die. Jiang Xiaowei, Mian, give me a hug. Everything will pass. Qinjia, Chief, it's okay. I'm sure nothing can stop you. And Yang, sis, take care of yourself. We'll always support you. Gao Ran, those greedy people won't have a good ending. Let's wait and see. The comments on Weibo were also very lively. Some were good, some were bad. In less than half an hour there were more than 10,000 comments. Dr. Hua, you've been in a bad mood lately. Dr. Hua, I went to check in with you yesterday. You said you were on vacation. When will you be back? Mian, good luck. I believe you're the best. Didn't you say your husband killed someone? Was it true or not? Did your husband have an affair with that woman? Then he killed her because he didn't want anyone to find out. That's what the rumors say. If your husband really did kill her, then you guys are the ones who are asking for it. I heard that GK's stock market has been plummeting. Should I buy more at a low price? I'm just a passerby. I don't know the truth, so I'm just waiting for the truth to come out. I have a feeling that someone is trying to smear GK's reputation. Huamin didn't sleep well the entire night. She stared at the dark circles under her eyes, opened the email on her phone overnight, and looked at the company's official business seriously. At this juncture, if her husband wasn't here, she would be looked down upon even more if she couldn't hold on. Huamin made a cup of coffee and forced himself to stay awake. He began to plan his itinerary for tomorrow. Inside Hua Xiqian's mansion, Song Yisha came back to pack her clothes. She felt that they should be getting a divorce soon. Therefore there was no need to continue living there. Unexpectedly, Hua Xiqian had returned at this time. Why are you back? Song Yisha looked at Hua Xiqian coldly. You can't move out yet? What a joke. Why should I listen to you? I told you, now isn't the time for a divorce. Don't make me repeat myself. Hua Xiqian looked down at Song Yisha with an impatient attitude. God knew how much he hated Song Yisha. If it weren't for the fact that this woman was still useful to him, he wouldn't have kept her around until now. That's your problem, not mine. I can't wait any longer. I don't want to talk to someone like you. Song Yisha had had enough. She used to think that she was the most hypocritical person in the world, but now she realized that Hua Xiqian was the ancestor of all hypocrites. He was 2 different people on the outside. Perhaps not many people knew that although he appeared to be a gentleman on the outside, he was actually a demon that could wake up at any moment. She didn't care how many women Hua Xiqian had outside. She just wanted to get away from this demon as soon as possible. Really? Does that mean you don't care about Qin Chu anymore? Hua Xiqian smiled. Upon hearing Qin Chu's name, Song Yisha stopped what she was doing. What did you do to Qin Chu? Song Yisha looked up and glared at Hua Xiqian angrily. You're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxiao Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.